Hello everyone and welcome to Leading Self and Others podcast, a podcast exclusively based on how you can effectively lead your life and the people around you, anywhere, any place. Every week you'll be provided with some nourishing dose of thought-provoking and influential messages. Here is your host, Venkatesh, human resources professional, leadership speaker, and author of 2 acclaimed books, Rise to Lead You and You and Your World.
Hello everyone, this is Venkatesh, your host for the podcast Leading Self and Others. Today we have a guest who was born in Pakistan but found herself fascinated and hooked to Mahabharata that used to be on every Sunday in Indian channel. This is where her yoga journey started. She was graduated in software engineering in the UK and had a job working as an Oracle database administrator as well. However, she quit her IT job in 2004 to become a yoga teacher, and 17 years later, her bond with yoga was stronger than ever, and there is so much more to learn. That's what she feels. It is a never-ending love story between her and yoga. So today we have Miss Jooji FATIMA. She still run online classes as well as work for local spas teaching yoga in the UK. So let us welcome her and get into the episode. As I have seen you in social media platforms that you have been training as well as coaching spirituality through yoga, right? So could you please tell about your journey? Because I'm sure you are born in Pakistan and you are currently in a different country of the world. So could you please tell about your story and your transformation in brief, please?
Yeah, sure. So born in Pakistan and now in completely different country. I'm in England now. I'm based in Berkshire in England. And yoga was not my first choice of things to do, because born in Pakistan, it's like when you talk about yoga, people think, oh my God, she's becoming Hindu. She wants to become Hindu. So, but I always found myself gravitating to yoga. I was in Lahore in Punjab, that borderlines with India. And me and my sister, she would be on the rooftop. I'll be watching the TV set and getting her to turn the aerial in the direction of India. So we will get the right signal so I could watch Mahabharata every Sunday. And then, of course, Chitarhar every Saturday. So it always had a pull towards me. I would wrap my mum's dupatta around like a sari and sit under my neem tree, pretending to be a yogi. So, but, as life goes, I got married very young. I was married at the age of 14 years, 9 months, which is very, very young. I came to England when I was 15 and a half, 16. And by the time I was 17, I was a single mom. It was pretty tough because I did not speak any English whatsoever. And to be left alone with a baby, that was very scary. But that's a great thing about England. For people who want to progress and learn and want to better themselves, there are so many opportunities here. So I took myself to the local church where they provided creche for the young mothers with babies. So my daughter would play with other kids while I spoke to other English women in a hope to learn more English. And then I spoke to the group leader and said, you know what, it will be nice to learn English properly. And she said, yeah, we can do something like that. We have funding to organize a course. So it all started from there. I did an English course there. I did a maths course there. It was 2 hours every week. Took me a long time, but I got there. And then at the end of the course, she handed me this leaflet. She said, you're very smart and it looks like you want to do more with your life. And I know of this place and they're doing a foundation course to get onto university. So anyway, I will cut a long story short. I did a foundation course, and then I got to university and I did software engineering. And I was working for Oracle for 4 years as an Oracle DBA. And yet I found myself that every lunchtime, I would take myself to the local yoga class. And after work, I would take myself to the yoga class. And then I met my ex-husband, who said, you don't have to work. I'm earning enough money for both of us. So why don't you, just be the lady of leisure? I thought, that's an amazing offer. I'm up for that. Let's do that. But I was bored after a month or two. I'm so used to ambition drives me. Having something to do drives me. And it may seem like, not doing anything sounds like a wonderful offer. It really isn't. It just drags you down. It just makes you stale and lethargic. So anyway, so I thought I will use this opportunity to actually do what I love. And that's where I started to train to be a yoga teacher. And to start with, it was not my plan to teach it. I was doing it just for myself. But here I am today. I'm very lucky, very fortunate to be working in some very nice clubs in the area. And I have some wonderful clients who follow me to the end of the year. So I'm very fortunate.
That's great. Actually, you have find some purpose to wake up every morning, right?
Absolutely. I think if your work doesn't make you jump out of bed, you need to change a job. So I'm very fortunate to have found something that drives me. And I can't imagine it's a big part of my life. I'll be doing it for free. So I'm very fortunate to be making a living out of it.
Hearing about your story, I can notice that you are naturally an self-driven person, right? Okay. When you
not always, but I try.
That's actually sums up your courage, okay? Because you are not used to do something, but you have pulled up your energy and you gathered all the courage what you want to do, right? So from being in the boredom and transforming yourself into do something what you are passionate, okay? So in this, how do you define spirituality?
Ooh, that's a good question, and it's a tough one. It's a question I used to struggle with myself at the start with. I mean, how do you define spirituality? Initially, when I started on my yoga journey, when I signed up for a course and lots of people turn up, you initially judge people from their appearance. Like, lots of people turn up, some women in their tight jeans and t-shirt, and I was one of them. And some of them wearing loose, long cotton clothes and beads. And I would say, the person wearing the beads and the cotton clothes must be really spiritual. They must be very grounded. But spirituality, I guess I can use religion as a reference to explain it, how I feel it should be defined, or it's defined for me. So when somebody's religious, they're worshipping a god or many gods. When people are spiritual, they start to treat anyone and everyone and even objects as if there is a piece of God in everything. And they have that kind of relationship, the kind of relationship you have with God. When you're in front of God, you give everything from a place of compassion, from a place of truth, because nothing can be hidden from God. So you're truly yourself, and you are very sincere in your offerings. When you're spiritual, you start to treat everyone like that. So, like, for example, this is the first time we're talking. We've not met ever. First time we're having this video meeting, but right now there's a relationship between you and me. And how honestly I answer your questions and how much attention and care I put into this interview defines my ethics, the kind of person I am. And when you start to apply that to every single thing you come into contact with, your friends, your family, even your enemies, when you give without discrimination, that's spirituality. I mean, I can see you're a handsome man, you're a good-looking man, you obviously are a strong man. You were telling me that you've been practicing yoga and you were very disciplined with it, so you're obviously physically strong man as well. But we have these opinions about ourselves. But when you become spiritual, you let go of those opinions. You become just a man. Like Sadhguru will say that spiritual people are like goats. They let go of all the ego. And yeah, you come from a place of non-discrimination. Like, I don't know, I guess like the sun shines on everything. It doesn't discriminate that this is good and this is bad. It just gives without discrimination. And that's how I define spirituality.
Yes, the great thing what I have noticed from your statements was like you are still exploring the spirituality. You have not,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh my God.
You have not. You have not defined some statement, and you are not contained with this. You are still exploring. You are in the path, and you are trying to find more into it.
Oh, definitely. It will be an ongoing journey. Yes. I'm just finding my way through and learning from experience and learning from people. It's amazing. And in my job, I come into contact with some wonderful human beings that, where I'm forever learning from my students. So it's a very much a relationship of, give and take.
True. During my sessions with public forum as well as any corporates I go, I used to say this: some of my best ideas come from my listeners only, from the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, according to me, spirituality is something that you coming back to your roots. Okay. So, you are labeled with many things. You are identified by many things, but ultimately, who are you without those self-created or society-imposed identities, right? So you coming back to yourself, and as you said rightly, so you are nothing when you leave those labels and identities. You are just a person, a man. Yeah.
You strip away the ego. So again, it's a constant work to keep your ego in check, to not react to all the external stimuli that society, like you said, that labels and statements and probes that society might give you, that you can react. She may think that I look amazing. Doesn't mean anything. End of the day, what really boils down to is what kind of a person I am. And the kind of person I am is going to not react to any external stimuli to agitate me. So I smiled through my appointment and walked away without saying anything.
True. Ego loves negativity.
Oh yeah, and it loves to be praised more than anything.
The more you feed, it grows faster.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you being an yoga practitioner as well as a teacher, you must be working with your mind, body as well as spirit. Okay. So according to you, how does our mind affect our body and vice versa?
Oh, that's, again, there are lots of even scientific studies is being carried out in this area, that there's an innate connection between your mind and body. Whatever you might be feeling has an immediate ripple effect on your physiology. I mean, when you're feeling low, down in the dumps, when people are depressed or anxious, they even hold themselves differently. They close themselves up. They close their heart center. They start to close up their front. They start to round and slouch. when people are, feeling confident in their mind, they will hold themselves differently physically. And vice versa. If you're ever feeling low, here's a little tip for you. Do a 20-second crash course in smiling. Meditate on your smile for 20 seconds. And doesn't matter what kind of mood you are in, within the first 5 to 10 seconds, you will start to feel your heart rate changing. And within 20 seconds, your brain will start to produce endorphins and chemicals that will help you change your, mindset. You will feel a little bit better. I'm not saying that it's going to cure all your problems, but you will feel a little bit better. And I do believe that, little steps, instead of trying to run a marathon, take little steps at a time to change things for better. But, how you, for example, if you were going to run a marathon in 6 months' time, you could have all the positive intentions in the world to run that marathon. And you could turn up on the day wearing your best trainers and your best gear. But if you haven't trained your physical body, you're not going to get very far. And vice versa, your physical body might be in a tip-top shape, but if your mind is telling you, you know what, I can't do this, it's no way I'm going to do this, then you will find a way to get out of it. So there is an innate connection between the mind, body, and soul. We are not this body. We're actually a soul, but this really is our only home. It doesn't matter if you live in a shack, if you live in a big mansion, your only true home is this physical body. And we tend to take such a good care of our other home. We clean it, we look after, we think about which area you want to live in. We want to think about how your neighbors are, and we want to find a good neighborhood. And we pay not that much attention to our bodies. So, yeah, that's my version of the connection between mind, body, and soul.
Great. So, what are your 3 important recommendations you have for us to maintain the mind-body balance to lead our life?
So for me, number 1, start with what you put in your body, what you eat. Don't respond to physical compulsions, emotional compulsions, but be mindful of what you eat. If you eat things that are dead and stale, you become what you eat. Every single cell in your body regenerates. The person you are today, every cell in your body would have changed from the person you were 10 years ago. And everything you are today is what you've been ingesting. So if you are mindful of what you eat, it pays a massive, it has a massive effect on what you become. It even has an effect on your body, mind. I was in Pakistan for 7 months just recently, and I noticed there's a massive trend, and it must be the same in India. There's a massive trend. I mean, everybody loves chicken. It's like chicken. But the chicken they're eating is actually boilers, which are manufactured in a month. Usually, organic chicken takes 7 to 8 months to grow, and they're growing these chickens, these boilers, in labs in a month. And one day I saw in the back of the truck these strange-looking creatures who were jam-packed in cages. They couldn't even stand on their own legs. I mean, how could something that is not even able to stand on their own legs be able to help you stand on your own legs? And I see this in Pakistan, that people who are eating a lot of those boilers and those hormone-injected meats are becoming ill. There is a lot of rheumatoid arthritis, blood pressure, diabetes, obesity. And this trend is going on because people are not taking advantage of all the fresh fruits and vegetables that are available to them. I mean, I'm not being judgmental here. If you're a meat eater, there is no judgment. However, the quality of what you eat will have a direct effect on your physiology and your health. So that's number 1, what you put in your body. Secondly, what you feed your mind. So I tend to stay away from news so much because bad news sells. There's always bad news. If you open the newspaper, if you turn on the TV, if it's not news, it's those perfectly photoshopped advertisements of people with amazing bodies, faces, and skins trying to sell you things that they feel will make you a happier person and give you a better life. Instead of that, I tend to focus more on reading biographies and books. There are certain people that I follow a lot, one of them being Sadhguru. I read quite a lot of positive quotes and things like that. I like Marcus Aurelius, Muhammad Ali, Dalai Lama. So I try to look for people who inspire me and try to read and feed my mind on positive things like that. My reading library or listening library, it's on my audiobooks, is full of mostly self-help books and that kind of stuff. And thirdly, and this is very, very important, and it usually gets ignored, is who you're friends with. I once read a quote, this was years ago, I read a quote, somebody said, "Show me your friends and I will show you who you are." And that made me think, and that made me really look at the circle of friends people who I was hanging out with. I'm a very friendly person, so I don't like to say no to people, especially when I was younger. Anybody invited me to a party, "Hey, Jooji, come to this party." I went, "Yeah, I'll be there." So, but it helped me become a little bit more choosy about who I hang out with. And if I look at my circle of friends now, most of them are successful but grounded women who are very empathetic, women who are very hardworking, and women who have very, very little egos despite the achievements that they have, come across. So look after your circle. You can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. So choose them wisely.
True. Jim Rohn says once, you are the average of your friends.
Exactly. There you go. You go. Absolutely.
So, so the qualities, whether it is good or bad, you are just borrowing from them, and you are creating a new you with their.
Absolutely. I tend to go for people who are much, much better than me. So I have something to aspire to.
Good. So we're coming back to the transformation. Okay. So you had told about your story of transformation, where it happened, and you had a struggled past, right? So how did you manage your mindset? Because that is something I'm very curious to ask you. You are so young to say that I'm young at the time. Okay, you do not know the world exactly how it was functioning at the age of 14 or 15 when the time you got married. But you're coming to England at the age again in 16 and a half or so, and it's all at a time, it's a new different world for you, right? So how did you kept your mind occupied? That is something productive in life. Normally productivity is something people assume it's only limited to the office setup, workplace setup, and goals oriented. Life also has some productivity. That is something what we feed ourselves to grow in our life, right? So during that difficult time of being held like a prisoner, okay, so how did you find yourself managing your own mind? Because I am a serious advocate of handling stress instead of managing stress, because we have to manage only what we need, what we have to maintain.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good question, Venkatesh, and something you said really hit the nail on the head. For the first year and a half of being in England, I literally was like a prisoner. My in-laws did not allow me to leave the house or interact with anyone. I was very much a prisoner in their home. Luckily, they sent me back. My ex-husband sent me back to Pakistan saying, don't come back, you're not needed. And plus, the fact that I gave them a granddaughter, not a grandson, did not go down very well. So I think it's something, people who are born in third world country and grow up in third world country, and I came from a family who was very, very humble. My dad held down 3 jobs to look after a family of 16 people, 6 kids, 6 of his sisters, his mother and father, my mother, and one of his sister's husband who had moved in and was jobless. So when you are brought up sharing things, and when you are accustomed to the fact that life is not fair and you must make the best out of any situation, it gives you a type of inner strength that people who've had everything given to them, they don't have that. So I had a good training to start with. I had to, the lack of everything while I was growing up trained me for this moment. And when I was in England and I was with those people who would not allow me to go out, who were not very good for me, because anything I did, they criticized. They literally, more than the physical abuse, the emotional abuse was, they made me believe that I was not capable of anything. Even washing the dishes or cooking the food, nothing I did was right. Everything was criticized. And that is tough to deal with. It turns you into a gibbering wreck. I took it physically. I became very, very thin. I went from being a chubby teenager to being 6.5 stones. So I became painfully thin. However, mentally, I focused on the fact that, I had this little baby now whose whole universe relied on me. So I had to be better for her. I had to survive for her, and I wanted to give her a better life. So that was a big factor. And secondly, I've always been the kind of person that in any kind of horrible situation, I try to look for the silver lining. And in that case, the silver lining was, look, you're in a better country. You're in a first world country now. So if you can see yourself out of this situation, there is help available to you. You're in a place where there are opportunities for people who want to improve and better themselves. I just need to hang in there and see myself through this, and hopefully things will improve. So I always focus on positives.
That is quite inspiring to know.
Thank you.
So
I think we all have that inner strength. We just need to tap into it.
True. The treasure is all inside. We have to open the door, and the funny thing is, we are our key. We hold the key.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm very, very fortunate that I was in a situation, thank God, that my ex-husband said I was no good for him and sent me back. Because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to go on this journey. Yes, and at the time, it's horrible. I mean, rejection feels horrible. And even, there's studies into this, that you even become affectionate or attached to your abuser. And that was the case in my case. I was like completely in love with this person who was emotionally and physically abusing me. So when he said, go back, I was in pieces. But thank God he did. So.
Thank you. So someone said that rejection is a redirection. So I have a positive story for that through you.
Go on.
No, you are the story that I have for a right example.
Tell me a story.
Thanks for your time, and thanks for your insights, whatever you have shared today. Definitely that will be helpful for my listeners as well as to me. And definitely we should be thankful for your time and effort to join us today once again.
Thank you, Venkatesh.
Last but never the end. Buckle up to get inspired and more realistic thoughts from Venkatesh. Make sure to subscribe now, just so you don't miss any episode. If you think this podcast has inspired you and may help someone you care, please share. Leading Self and Others.